Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into a stack of ancient texts that, honestly, at first glance, might feel like wildly different puzzle pieces.
That's right.
We've got everything from, epic history to these really quiet personal reflections. But trust us, by the end of this deep dive, we're going to show you how they snap together to reveal some surprising insights, really looking at strength, mercy, and deliverance.
Absolutely. Our mission really is to unpack how these big concepts, divine power, justice, compassion, how they're woven through these sources.
Yeah.
We'll look at, quite a range, a massive historical exodus, but also a remarkably quiet act of healing. And we want to consider what this whole complex picture means for you today.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're drawing from excerpts that touch on the Exodus story, some profound passages from the Psalms, prophetic words from Isaiah, and a really compelling gospel account from Matthew.
And there's a reflection piece too, right?
Exactly, yeah. Theological reflection to help us sort of tie it all together. Our goal is to pull out those core nuggets of knowledge, help you feel truly well-informed, maybe with some genuine aha moments along the way.
Sounds good.
So let's start with an image that, it instantly captivated me. It's from our first source, this reflection called Gentle Strength, Healing the Bruised and Overlooked.
Okay.
And it points us to Isaiah 42, verses 2 and 3. It's also echoed in Psalm 34.18. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out.
Wow.
What immediately stands out there is just the incredible restraint, It
really does. And what's fascinating is how precisely this ancient prophecy from Isaiah is, according to our second source, it's explicitly fulfilled in Matthew chapter 12.
Right.
The text describes Jesus. He realizes the Pharisees were plotting to kill him, and instead of confronting them directly or making a big public scene, he withdraws.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. Even as he quietly pulls back, loads of people follow him, and the text says he cures them all. Yet he warns them not to make him known. It's not a show of force at all. It's this quiet, healing action that Matthew presents as the direct fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecy.
Exactly. A servant who doesn't strive or cry out.
Yeah, bringing justice with this profound gentleness without breaking that bruised reed or quenching the smoldering wick. It's powerful.
It really unveils a potent form of strength that's completely countercultural, isn't it? It's not about overt force or, big public displays.
Not all.
It's about gentle, compassionate action, specifically directed towards the vulnerable. And that gentle strength reflection, it really underscores this. It says, Jesus came not to crush the weak, but to heal and restore them in love. Revealing what it calls God's heart for the broken and the overlooked. It sort of forces you to redefine what strength can even look like.
Okay, so if that quiet healing is one intricate piece of this puzzle, the Exodus narrative, it blasts in like a massive foundational block. Let's pivot now to a very different display of divine power.
Okay, big shift.
Yeah, found in the reading from Exodus 12, verses 37 to 42. This is that pivotal, earth-shaking account of the Israelites leaving Egypt after generations of bondage.
Right, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's such a dramatic counterpoint to what we just discussed.
Totally.
Here we see this huge exodus, about 600,000 men on foot, not counting the little ones. Plus it mentions a crowd of mixed ancestry going with them.
Just imagine the scene.
And they rush out, baking unleavened loaves because they literally have no time to prepare food properly. It's urgent.
And the source makes a point of specifying they had been in Egypt for 430 years.
430 years. Yeah.
And their departure happened on this very date. It's described as a night of vigil for the Lord, something to be observed throughout their generations. This is definitely not a quiet withdrawal.
No, quite the opposite. It's a mighty, public, undeniable act of national liberation.
Yeah.
And then you have the responsorial psalm, Psalm 136, which powerfully reinforces this. It keeps repeating that phrase, his mercy endures forever.
All right. Over and over.
But get this, it says that while recounting God smiting the Egyptians' firstborn, bringing Israel out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, splitting the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And sweeping Pharaoh and his whole army into it, which, it raises a really important question, doesn't it? How do we even begin to reconcile that gentle, bruised reed image with this mighty hand that smites and splits seas? They seem almost diametrically opposed.
That is the core tension, isn't it? It really is. We've got this overwhelming, forceful liberation, the Exodus on one hand, and then on the other, the quiet, gentle, almost hidden healing of Jesus. So, I mean, what does this all mean for understanding God's action? How do these two forms of power, they look so different, how do they speak to each other, and what do they tell us about the nature of mercy?
Well, I think the real aha here isn't just that mercy endures forever, like Psalm 136 hammers home, but it's how it endures, how it manifests so paradoxically.
Yeah.
In Exodus, you could argue that God's mercy demands this powerful, liberating intervention,
Right.
which for the oppressors means judgment. It's an active, almost fierce compassion for his people that required this dramatic overturning of power.
Okay, so mercy isn't just softness.
Exactly. Whereas in Matthew, mercy is shown as this quiet, healing embrace, focusing on individual restoration.
Yeah.
It forces us to rethink mercy, not as just one thing, like simple softness, but as this multifaceted divine quality. It could be both tender and, frankly, terrifyingly just. But it seems like it's always aimed at a larger purpose, liberation, restoration.
That's a really profound distinction. It's not just two different ways of acting, but maybe two different aspects of the same core mercy, each one appropriate to the specific situation.
That's a great way to put it.
And this grand purpose of mercy, covering both the gentle touch and the mighty hand, it finds its ultimate expression, as our source reminds us, through 2 Corinthians 5:19, in this overarching theme of reconciliation.
Yes.
God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ and entrusting to us the message of reconciliation. That seems to be the thread pulling it all together, linking all these powerful acts, whether they're huge and sweeping or small and subtle, into one big plan, bringing everything back into right relationship.
Yeah, I think that nails it. This deep dive, it really reveals that divine strength isn't monolithic, is it? It shows up in incredibly diverse ways.
Definitely.
From that quiet, almost invisible healing touch to the dramatic, world-altering, liberating hand. And the key is, both seem driven by that same deep mercy and an unwavering desire for justice.
And crucially, the sources don't just leave it there. They call us to reflect this in our own lives, right? That gentle strength reflection, it encourages us to embody tenderness and hope in how we treat others, and to respond with peace, not pride, especially when we face opposition. It's about how we wield our own influence, our own little bits of power.
It really challenges us to look inward.
Yeah.
It prompts us to think about our own actions, even offering a kind of prayer. Teach me to be a light to the weary and a voice of hope to the forgotten.
That's beautiful.
And it culminates with a very direct personal question for you, the listener. Who around me is hurting quietly, and how can I gently offer support or comfort today? It brings it right down to earth.
It really does. So this deep dive, it's shown us that true strength isn't just about, overwhelming power. It's profoundly about how that power is used.
Yeah.
Sometimes with a mighty, liberating hand, sometimes with a gentle, healing touch, but always, it seems, with this enduring mercy underneath it all.
And what really stands out, I think, is that these ancient texts, though they seem so disparate on the surface,
Right.
they actually offer a cohesive and incredibly dynamic understanding of divine action. It guides us towards both, profound awe at such power, but also deeply practical compassion in our everyday lives.
So maybe here's something to chew on. If divine strength can manifest in both the sweeping, foundational force that parted the Red Sea and in the quiet, personal mending of a single bruised reed, what does that tell us? What does that tell you about the most effective, the most meaningful ways to bring about healing and justice in your own life and maybe in the world around us?